So I decided against the poetry idea because it didn't end up actually lasting 2 minutes. It was around 1 minute and 40 seconds, and so I figured it would be too short. So I decided to go with my all-time favorite book of To Kill a Mockingbird. I think 2 people have already done this so far, but no one's done the opening scene, which is my favorite part of the book. If you don't know what To Kill a Mockingbird is about, it's from the point of view of Scout, a young girl, and it's about her father, who works on a trial, a rape case about a black man raping a white woman, which it didn't actually happen. Spoiler alert. I'm reading the beginning scene because I love the imagery and the way he puts the words together. It's so beautiful. Sorry. It's a she. We keep mixing it up because I know a lot of guys named Harper. So I'm just gonna read the beginning scene from that. When he was nearly 13, my brother Jem got his arm badly broken at the elbow. When it healed, and Jem's fears of never being able to play football were assuaged, he was seldom self-conscious about his injury. His left arm was somewhat shorter than his right. When he stood or walked, the back of his hand was at right angles to his body, his thumb parallel to his thigh. He couldn't have cared less, so long as he could pass and punt. When enough years had gone by to enable us to look back on them, we sometimes discussed the events leading to his accident. I maintained that the Yule started it all, but Jem, who was 4 years my senior, said it started long before that. He said it began the summer Dill came to us, when Dill first gave us the idea of making Boo Radley come out. I said if you wanted to take a broad view of the thing, it really began with Andrew Jackson. If General Jackson hadn't run the creeks up the creek, Simon Finch would have never paddled up the Alabama, and where would we be if he hadn't? We were far too old to settle an argument with a fist fight, so we consulted Atticus. Our father said we were both right. Being Southerners, it wasn't a source of shame to some members of the family that we had no recorded ancestors on either side of the Battle of Hastings, and all we had was Simon Finch, a fur-trapping apothecary from Cornwall, whose piety was exceeded only by his stinginess. In England, Simon was irritated by the persecution of those who called themselves Methodists at the hands of their more liberal brethren, and as Simon called himself a Methodist, he worked his way across the Atlantic to Philadelphia, thence to Jamaica, thence to Mobile, and up the St. Stephens. Mindful of John Wesley's strictures on the use of many words in buying and selling, Simon made a pile, practicing medicine, but in this pursuit he was unhappy lest he tempted into doing what he knew was not for the glory of God, as putting on a gold and costly apparel. So Simon, having forgotten his teacher's dictum on the possession of human chattels, brought 3 slaves, and with their aid established a homestead on the bank of the Alabama River, some 40 miles above St. Stephens. He returned to St. Stephens only once to find a wife, and with her established a line that ran high to daughters. Simon lived in an impressive age and died rich. It was customary for the men in the family to remain on Simon's homestead, Finch's Landing, and make their living from cotton. The place was self-sufficient, modest in comparison with the empires around it. The landing nevertheless produced everything required to sustain life, except ice, wheat flour, and articles of clothing, supplied by river boats from Mobile. So, what I really love just about this opening page is that it's really hard to explain, but I think when you're reading such a classic piece of literature, like every page just astounds you. This is one of my favorite books because I'm a big criminal fan. Like I love criminal cases and looking at that kind of stuff, and so I was so excited to read this book when it was assigned to me in 8th grade. It's one of the only books that actually read that an English teacher has assigned because it has such beautiful lessons in it. I read this part of the book because it was just an opening, and like it opened the world of Finch's Landing to the people in the story. So I thought it was amazing, and it pulls everything together so well. And at the end, the last few scenes, it ties back to all of this. So it's really like a full circle, and this is just the start of something so beautiful. So that's why I picked that scene, and that is all I have. So sorry it was so windy out here. I've been recording outside because my parents are on work calls inside, so I hope you enjoyed.